publicly, first Uncle Bill and Aunt Charlotte for the great aunt and uncle that they were to the three Bryant boys. They always invited us to scout camp, and we always had great times on holidays with them, being with our cousins, and they were just special aunt and uncle. Charlene and Uncle Fred, were unbelievable aunt and uncle. The Bryant boys got to learn to fish and hunt and those things. They were just special activities that they make memories. So those are the things you remember when you appreciate Uncle Bill and Charlie and the today. What great people they are. As we warned everybody that we wanted them to make comments that might relate to Mom's life in some way or their relationship with Mom. As I thought about that, I had a lot of time. I was in the tractor for quite a while, and we were going back and forth, and had a lot of time to think about it. And all I could think about is how hard this woman worked to take care of her three boys. I can remember when I was 11 or 12 years old, and Mom was talking to someone, and I don't know whether it was Charlene or who it was, but she was talking to someone, and they said, "Why did you go to work?" And she said, "I have to make sure that these boys have food and clothing and a house and a roof over their head." She was a little, Dad made a living, but it went up and down a little bit, and she wanted it to be steady, so she went to work. And down in Blight, before we left Blight, she worked in a bakery, and that was great because we had a lot of day-old donuts and that sort of thing that was exciting to us at that time. And then we moved to Utaipa, and she got a job taking care of cleaning, grading, and packing the eggs for a chicken ranch that had 10,000 laying hens. And the job consisted of 7 days a week, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And that sounds terrible, but as I thought about it, she got permission from the owner for us, the three of us boys, to go and help her on weekends and holidays, and anytime we weren't in school. And as I look back at it now, those were special times when we had the opportunity to work beside her and help her nurture us under less than perfect conditions. But as I look back on it now, those were special times, and I appreciate that we had that opportunity. As she went on and did other jobs after that, she got us out of high school doing that job, and then as she went on and did other jobs and started making a little money and accumulating a little bit, and she began to totally want to share everything with us. She helped her grandchildren, helped her children, and seemed like every time she helped out, it just seemed to come at the perfect time when we had a need or the grandchildren had a need. She's a great lady. And she has simply dedicated her total life to her three boys.
That's going to be kind of hard to follow. I agree with everything you said so far, and I agree that those days over there cleaning the crap off the eggs and weighing them, packing them, is definitely a character builder. And she ended up with 3 sons with a lot of character, and it's all due to her. On a lighter note, I'd like just to share a couple of little things that happened. In a family of 3 boys, you would think there'd be a lot of cussing and bad words thrown around our house. You didn't hear it around our house. And I remember maybe one of the reasons started back when we were very small. Bud muttered under his voice one day after being told he couldn't do something. He says, "Jackass." In a split second, he had a bar of homemade lye soap in his mouth, going back and forth. Bud doesn't remember it, Mom doesn't remember it, but I remember it. And I think it was probably a lesson we'll learn to don't swear around Mom. One more on the lighter side tells you how Mom, her philosophy probably about raising her boys, as well as taking care of us at all costs. One day, Grandma Bryant was over and she was having a cup of tea or coffee with Mom. They were sitting in the living room in the house on 5th Street in Yucaipa. And all 3 of us were in a bedroom. We were fighting and crashing and banging and noise coming out of there. And Grandma sat there fidgeting and very worried and fidgeting. Mom's calmly sipping her coffee. Pretty soon Grandma says, "Well, aren't you going to do anything, Nita?" And Mom said, "Well, I am. I'm hoping they don't kill each other." And that's the fond memories I have. Mom was always there. You could be any place in the world. She was always there.
Made a special trip. It gets kind of hard, you know, you have families and you're just going about the business of living your lives. And you took the time to come up here, so I'd like to open it up, you know, from the audience out here. And have you, if you want to say something, like Barbara, let's go ahead and do it that way. And so, Barbara, why don't you start it off if you. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, well, I get to talk because I'm older than all of the rest of the 3 boys, as we always call them, and then there was us 3 girls. And I remember when I was turned 16, Grandpa Bryant let me have his car, and Aunt Nita let Don and Frank and Shirley and I drive ourselves from Yucaipa down to the Colorado River, and we camped overnight just on the dirt, and we had a ball. You remember that, Don and Frank? And I can go back, not sure how old Frank was.
About 3.
It probably was, because somebody asked him what his name was. And he says,
no.
I'm Sandy Bryant.
I was 3 when we went camping.
Oh, no, you were older.
You were 16.
Anyway, in recent time, I have served on an advisory committee in Caltrans, and they have meetings here in Sacramento. And I'd like to publicly thank Aunt Nita for every time she let me come and spend the night. And I always had wonderful stories told to me about the family. And I just really enjoyed that. Thank you, Aunt Nita.
I'm Mary Ellen, and I am the youngest girls. And you notice Bud and I didn't get to go camping. Anyway, I just want to publicly thank Aunt Nita for teaching my husband Fred how to make the pomegranate jelly. It is something really special in our house. And all our friends have enjoyed it, so thanks for the pomegranate trees too. We don't have any fruit yet, but one of these years we will. So thanks, Aunt Nita, and thanks for all the great stories and memories too.
She's more like a sister than a sister-in-law. And our whole family has always just enjoyed Juanita so much. And we appreciate everything you've done for us.
To be just above all else is hopping on an airplane. I must have been, I don't know, I probably did it from the time I was 10 to 15, hopping on an airplane, going up to Sacramento to see Grandma and Grandpa. Sorry, Shauna. And every summer I would come up and stay with Grandma and Grandpa for probably a week. I think I would call Mom and Dad and say, can I stay for another week? And working in Uncle Bud and Grandma's bookstore. And I didn't have to clean eggs, but I cleaned a lot of books. Cleaned a lot of books, and I remember Grandma and I would go in every day, and she never wanted us to have to work in the bookstore the whole day. So we would go in the morning, and then we'd have Burger King for lunch, and then we would go home. But that is just some of my fondest memories. Thank you.
Say a few things. I've got some childhood memories of coming down to see Grandma and the things that Grandma and Grandpa would do for us. A lot of times, Laura, there was a couple times summers where Laura got to come and work in the store and do that, and so then I would come down maybe for a week or so right at the tail end and then go home with Laura. And a couple more of my memories are with Grandpa Bernie, actually, because Laura and Grandma, I'd wake up, they'd be gone to the store, and everybody's gone to the store, and then Grandpa would grab me, take me around. He took me to the marina and different places around in Sacramento. I do remember took me into his little watering hole place, and he'd give me I'd get the 7-Up with the cherry, and I'm not sure what he got, but and the other one was went to a deli, and he got all this nice bread and meats, and came home and showed me how to make a really nice sandwich, and that was the first time I'd ever done that. And so Grandpa had a entertaining side to him as well, just to let you know. And then another one was as a little kid, and Laura and I were down, and Grandma and Grandpa were going to take us back up to Idaho. And Grandpa, you remember he had the 1976 blue Chevy pickup with the camper shell? Well, that's what we were going to travel in, and I got to ride in the back under the shell. And just to give you an idea, we were still going up over the summit outside of town here, and so we couldn't have been too far up the road, and I was already banging on the window asking, when are we going to get there? And I do remember all the frosties and the ruts in the road going up the summit, because I remember that rough road. Then we stopped at a truck stop for lunch, and I remember screaming out to the top of my lungs something about my hot dog being cold. And Grandma took care of that for me. And one other one is I have Grandma Bryant to thank for me having the opportunity to come down here one summer, and I just had to get a skateboard. And she took me around, and we found a spot where we could get a skateboard, and she went through the whole routine and did that for me. And just to let you know, there's no skateboards in Idaho back when I was a kid, so that was kind of a new thing, and it was pretty exciting to me, and I remember that. I remember being there with her, and she just to let you know, whenever she's doing something like that, she always pays cash, and that's a pretty good lesson right there too. So thanks, Grandma.
This was shortly after Dawn and I were going together, and after we had gotten engaged. I can remember taking off on a Friday night on President's Weekend, going down to Blythe to meet all the Denewilers, to meet the family. She got in the back seat. We had a little Corvair. She got in the back seat of that car, and we had a great time. And she even brought a homemade German chocolate cake, and I'll never forget that.
Of course she did.
Her hospitality, her generosity, and her big heart, I'm so grateful for. We all are. I remember Sunday dinners shared together. Even after we were married. We lived close enough where we'd have Sunday dinners together. And then after we moved away, all the fond memories of coming home for Thanksgiving were so great. Thank you.
Years I worked with Gilroy Foods, and I would take trips to Oregon to plant garlic, and usually coming out of Blythe from Prittle Valley, this was my halfway stopover, and either coming or going, I try to make a point to stop by and see Aunt Nita and spend the night. If not the night, just stop by for a few hours and visit. And I mean, it was always a wonderful time. We just sat, visit. She always kind of questioned me what was going on with the family and what was going on in Blythe and who was doing this and how this person was. And so it was one way that she and I kind of kept up on the family and kept up on the farm and some of the things that were happening in Blythe. And I miss that. It's been 4 or 5 years, I think, since I had that opportunity to make that trip. And it was always an enjoyable time, like we all know, and it was always felt like home. And it was, you know, it was. It could be done yeah, but it was always nice to hear some of the old days and how hard it was in Blythe, and how the loss of Mildred and Robert, and how hard it was on Grandma Denny at that time, and the struggles they did have in Blythe. And it was tough times, and she would tell me about some of those times. And you have to really appreciate the people that did that, the people that made put that farm together down there and did what they did in those old days. So we love you, Aunt Nita.
Okay, I'll try with the funny story first. Keep me from crying. Probably cried through that too. Like Kelly, I had a lot of opportunities in the summer to come visit Grandma. Some for just a week or two, and later as I got older, almost the whole summer, got to spend with her and Grandpa, and working for Uncle Bud. And I'm thinking about the memories. My favorite memory to share with my kids is we would a lot of times eat lunch in the back of the store, in the back room, and Grandma always would be prepared with good sandwiches or whatever, you know, she had. And one day, I think we hadn't gone to the store for a little while, and well, one of her favorites is peanut butter and banana sandwiches, and so we had that quite often But one day she said, "This is really good, and I haven't done this for a long time," and she made me a peanut butter and pickle sandwich. And she really likes it, and I actually liked it, and I tell my kids when they start making weird concoctions or talk about what their friends eat, and that she was, what, 70 years old then when she making that.
She put lettuce on it?
Yeah, lettuce. Yes. But being with her, but she taught me how to work, and being with her got me out of moving sprinkler pipe, and I left Chris to do that. It wasn't very fair. But and some of my other fond memories are with her and Grandpa. They would drive, a lot of time drive us one way to Idaho. My parents bring us the other way. And Grandpa, we would stop at the casino or whatever in Nevada to take a break. And he'd go over to the keynote place and he goes, "I'm going to win your college education." And he always tried at least once or every stop. I never quite went. And then they got the new Pontiac car, and we're so excited about that. And Grandpa got 2 tickets in Oregon in one trip. Because the car went so fast, and it seemed like it was only going the speed limit. But another one with Uncle Bud is he always, especially when he'd just keep us busy and find fun things for us to do, would take us to the track and run with them. Not that track, no, running track. I think he did take us to the horse races.
I did that too.
Which pretty horse do you like?
That's right. We would call him Uncle Bud all the time, and he goes, "Nope, I'm Dude in the Desert." So that was his name for a long time. We just called him Dude in the Desert. But lots of fun memories, fun lessons, great life lessons learned from Grandma and Grandpa, and fun times with cousins. I think that's when we were able to get together. The few choice times we did have. And I just love Grandma so much for all you've done, and I guess especially for the support. She's helped us with college and with early married, and still is always sharing, sending, and giving, and it always has come to help us at Christmas time or through hard times. She's always been there for us and blessed us in that way, and very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.